Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European Indices, starting with the DAX here on the monthly chart, because I wanted to have a look at the AEX, the FTSE and the MIB also too on the monthly chart. So one of the things that I wanted to point out here is that in this market here we can look at this as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave here for this market. We can also see too that this particular low here is not lower here for an ABC, but on the S&P 500 it is here. So we really need to sort of tune markets in a little bit, because there'll always be leaders and there'll always be followers as well within the market space. So and some will be some will be deflated and not rising as high as this, or even taking the highs out here, and others that that have exceeded these particular highs here, like the DAX and the S&P, but the MIB hasn't taken these highs out here. So different markets for different things. But anyway, from this wave 4 here, wave 1 and 2 here, nice strong third wave here, and wave 4 here, and then we're looking at wave 5 moving up through here. So from the monthly to the weekly chart, picking that wave 4 up here, we're looking at we're counting 5 waves up for wave 5 here of this wave 5 here. So we've got wave 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2, nice strong third wave, fourth wave and fifth wave. It's debatable if this can be here or here, not that it's a huge issue at this stage, because we're past it, but it's good to kind of not to get too fixed on this, because what happens is that this could be a recurring pattern in other structures. It might be in here or on an intraday basis. So they tend to group together in clusters. So it's always good to keep an eye on them. So the normal thing, if wave 2 is simple, then wave 4 is going to be complex. The other point here too is that this particular trend line coming through here, it's just based on, just double checking, it's based on this wave 4 low and wave 2 here, and that gives us our base trend line here. So in Elliott terms, we normally find that in a trend line coming through here based on the beginning of wave 1 and 2 here, and wave 3 can take out the top of the trend channel here, and that helps confirm it. When wave 4 comes into play, it normally breaches this trend line through here and then moves up here. So in this case, we are seeing this breaching of the trend line here. The pattern that we thought that we had a triangle already completed in this space, but it's just becoming larger. So we just need to stay with it. It's going to be more complicated. But there's nothing that I can do about that. But so from wave 3 here, we need to look at an A and a B and a C wave here, a D wave, and then an E wave here. Okay, so this is not quite finished here just yet. So I'll just cut through to the 4-hour chart and pick this up in here. So I might even just go to the 1-hour chart here. So this will be, I'll just go back to the 4-hour chart. Sorry, I've got too many charts in my head, but right, so they're a bit spaced out here, but that's okay. So in a nutshell, we're looking for this. We think there's another move in here like this. We'll look at that in a moment. Okay, so once that's completed, then we'll be looking at an A wave, a B wave, a C wave for the D wave, and then an A and a B and a C for the E wave here, and then up through here. So look, it's still quite a complicated scenario that we need to move through with all of this, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, just looking at this trend here on the hourly chart, we're obviously at 12,000 here. So the market, as I mentioned before, should bounce off this or should stick to it. In this case, it has moved through it, but that's okay. I know that there's two things. Well, there's not much a market can do when it hits a level. So normally, if it's I'll do it in this accordance here. So it can either come down here and bounce off here, and then if it comes and bounces straight off there, then it's a very clean sort of thing, and the bounce will be quite strong. In this case here, the market hasn't really, well, it has had a little bounce here, hasn't it? Not much to reckoned with. So I would just assume that I would just call this one here that I know that it's found support here, and then it's migrated to resistance here. So it has done all the right things in terms of migration from one side to the other, but really, in terms of staying within the trend, it really hasn't broken out of the channel. So normally I find that the distance that it moves down, the distance it moves below here, this distance here, will be the distance that comes back and bounces on this side here. So coming back up to 12,100 for this wave 4 here would be roughly right as an A and a B and a C. Spending a bit of time here, and then the short trade can come in once we've got the low in place here, because it might come down a tad further, an A and a B and C. So then we can look to short down to 11, from 12 to 11.8 through here on this one here. So that's pretty much sort of where we're looking at here at the moment. It may pull down to the 500 here, but let's just take it to the 8 here, because there will be support at 8. 8's a profit-taking number, so we'll put that in there. So that's kind of where we are with this at the moment, and I'll just clean this up a little bit. So the other markets are pretty much all the same sort of ending pattern here as well. So we'll just go and have a look at that. I just need to do a bit of housework while I'm on the hop here, because otherwise I won't have time to come back to it once I finish this video. I've got to move on. So the AEX. So with the AEX here, we can see that just on the monthly chart here, we can see the DAX moved well above this high here, and also with this market here too, this move down through here, it made a new low here, but on the DAX it didn't. On the S&P 500 it did. But also too, this 5-wave structure that we're looking at here, it's kind of, the wind's taken out of its sail a little bit, isn't it? It hasn't moved up above this high here. Some of the Asian markets are the same as well. The Australian market that I'm in hasn't really taken out this high here, but some of the stocks have, like CBA, some of the banks. So different things are doing different things, but at the same time, in all of them, we're just tracking this 5-wave structure to the upside here. I suppose, no, I won't go there, but the main point here is that by the looks of it, I mean, we're looking at, if we're comparing it to the DAX, we're looking at from this low here, 1 and 2, and wave 3, and we're looking for wave 4, which is being a little bit complicated in here, and then we'll look for wave 5. It may not take out the top here, but there hasn't, this would be, as long as it's got 5 waves in it, then it's suitable for Elliott and finishes there and then can move down without making a new high here. But there hasn't really been many truncated 5th waves in the history or at this degree of structure. I think there's only been 2 that haven't done, haven't finished their structures off. So they're quite rare at this degree of structure. So, but anyway, moving in here on the weekly and picking it up from wave 4 here. This is why I wanted to talk about this a little bit. So from this wave 4, we've got wave 1 and 2 in here. That's all nice. And then 1 and 2 here. And then I won't go into a lot of detail, but because I've already been through all of this here, wave 3 and 4 here. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 3 here. So it's possible, I guess, that if I copy this here, I don't think it's the case, but I'll just put it, and we have talked about this before as well, I'll just dull it out there. But wave 4 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 5 here, and actually finishing here, that's the top of those 5 waves here, and that's the top. But I don't have any evidence of that. I would need to see an impulse wave to the downside here, and we don't have that just yet. So I'm just designing this here in the same way that the DAX is going to play out. So we know there's a little bit more downside, so an A and a B and a C for the D wave, an A and a B and a C for the E wave here, and then moving up here. That's one way of actually looking at what we've actually got here so far. So yeah, I want to point out that wave 5 top can be in place here. This is the same with the FTSE as well, by the by. Or otherwise, we've got the wave 4 well over here, which wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's probably the case because the DAX is in this space like that. And yeah, so just cutting through to, say, the 4-hour chart and picking up from this wave C here. Last time we spoke, we're looking at wave B up here, but it's possible that if we put it towards the DAX, then we can look at this as an A wave to here, B wave to here, and then 5 waves down, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, as wave C of C here, and then we would go into wave D here, and then wave E over here. But the other count here that I just don't want to wipe out just yet is that we could look at this wave B up here and have this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3 here. So this move back as wave D here could be wave 4, and then have wave 5 coming down in here as wave C, and that would give us 5 waves down. But that wave C here and that bearish picture that we just looked at, this could also point it out as wave 1. It's probably not the case, but it's what the video is for, is just to, you know, have a look around and chat about things. So, but yeah, anyway, this pattern's in the same format as the DAX at the moment. So let's just go in here. So yes, slightly different labeling here, but the same thing as well. We're looking for, let me just get this into perspective. So from wave 2 here, we're looking at, from here, we're looking at a 38.2% retracement level, thereabouts. So around the 545 area here, a bit lower, and then wave 5 down. So that's what we can expect in the next session from here. And moving on to the FTSE. So with the FTSE here, just put this on the monthly chart just to give you a bit of perspective with all of this as well. So with the FTSE here, it's actually made a new high above here. Okay, so an A and a B and a C wave here, all pretty sort of visually simple. And then the move up through here counts as 5 waves, as wave 1 and 2 here, and then we've got 5 waves in this space here for wave 3, back for wave 4, and then up for wave 5. The problem with this count too is that this is what's happened in Australia too. The wave 4 here has overlapped the top of wave 1 here. So really that doesn't really, you know, that's breaking, there's only 3 Elliott rules, and it's certainly breaking one of them with wave 4 cannot move into the price territory of wave 1 here. So I kind of wonder about this a little bit, you know. But the other point here too is that from wave 4 here to wave 5 here, it's possible to count this as actually completed here as well. So having wave 5 sitting here, it's probably not the case. This is probably a wave 4 in here, but I do want to talk about it. So if I was counting up from this is a weekly chart now. So from wave 4 here, we've got wave 1 and 2 here. And then we can look at this as wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for wave 3. So it's possible to have, where's my wave 4 gone? Copy. Copy that again. So I was looking at this as an A and a B and a C here for wave 4 here, and then having wave 4 here, and then also having wave 5 in this space here also being completed. I mean, that would be fine, but I still, we have to sort of think of the DAX as well, of what that's going through. And the other point with this too is that the move down from the high down to this first point here is in 3 waves. It's you can count it as 5, but it just seems better as 3. So I think we're still in this correction here, but I do really have to point out that it is possible for a top to be in place in this space here. But I don't have enough evidence of that in the downside here, so I can't go there yet. But I can certainly just point it out. So I'll just, in fact, what I'll do here is I'll just copy that. No, I won't. I'll just dull that out here. Dull it right out and copy this here and put this here and dull this out here. So we just sort of we're conscious of that situation of top being in place. But what I would need to see with that is I need to see wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here. I need to see 5 waves down here and then 3 waves back up. And then on those 3 waves back up, then we know that we'll be getting another move back down here lower. So we're a long way off of confirming something like that. So we'll stay with the main plan. So with this one here, yeah, if I line it up with the DAX, if I do, this is how it would look. Okay. I also had this too as wave 4 here with this is wave 1 here pulling back to wave 2 here and then moving up through there. So I'm not going to forget about that either, but it's probably not the case if the DAX is going to be doing what it's doing, but I'm not that. This is how we had it before, wave 4 here and wave 1 here, and A and a B and a C here for wave 2. This is how we've had it before, and we're looking for our target. We're in our target box. I think there's one more little move up and one more little move down, the same as the other European markets as well, before that finishes on here. But this wouldn't be, we would have to look at this here as one over here, it's wave 4 here, copy this one here for wave D, and we'll have this one here as wave E here. Sorry, wave C, sorry. And this one here as wave D. So I'll just leave it like this for the time being, but yeah, our main point here is we need to finish this little move off down through here. So let's go in and have a look at that. So just before I do, this would make this wave B over here now. So I'm just trying, I'm just really trying to line everything up here so we're on the same page. All the markets on an intraday basis are moving in the same way. So it's logical to think that in one way or another they've all got the same large account in one way, apart from some trends moving a bit higher or a bit lower. So on the 4-hour chart here, we're looking at it. It's a little bit more complicated here. So from this top here, as wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, then an A and a B and a C here. This is the 50-60% retracement level here. So, and also the top of group 1 as well, 7,300. The number 3 is the important point here. So, yeah, I just expect this to be travelling sideways here. So I'm not going to call in any trades on this for a while, but that's sort of where we are with this market. And also the MIB, so the Italian MIB. So this is the monthly chart here. So with the other markets that we've just looked at, we're calling this wave 3 up there and wave 4 down here. So the five waves that we've got, in fact this one makes a new low here, so it would be logical to put this here. And then, yeah, so I'm not really sure what to make of all of this at this particular stage. I mean, this would be the A, the B, and the C wave here that's how the other markets are counted. So I'll just leave it there for the time being. But I need to really go back over this because I think that it does appear, this is the date that basically all the other guys finished on, March 2009. But this move up through here is only in 3 waves, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves here. So I think that this is actually over here. And then would be also left, but I don't think this is wave 4. That's the other problem with this as well, because, you know, this is just too small. So it's not really adding up to me. So, but what I am a little bit afraid of is that if that is technically the low here, so that would leave us with an A wave here, a B wave here, and copy that, and a C wave here. So this has got 5 waves up here. So you know, we could be in for you know, more of a bear market within all of this here. So I was just trying to sort it out on the weekly chart here. I still got a lot of work to do, so just take this with a pinch of salt, really, because we're just still mucking around with it. If I line this up here too with the other markets, with the DAX, then I'd need to look at this as wave 3 here, with an A wave here, a B wave making a new high here, and then wave C coming down here for wave 4. Or if we're going to line up with the other markets, then we need to put it over here with this here, and then it would probably vibrate much the same here. So we're looking for another move down here, and then an A and a B and a C for the D wave, an A and a B and a C for the E wave here, and then up from here. We don't really want to see it coming back down too low from here either, because from wave 2 here roughly to top of wave 3, we don't take it to the B wave top. That's the 38.2%, so we're down already, down 10% on that as well, so the 50%. So we don't really want to see the 20,000 becoming the retested resistance, otherwise it's going to be, well, it's just going to look bearish in there. We want that number to be support. So just coming into all of this here, and this move down through here appears to be counting in 5 waves. That's why I've got it as wave C, and it's quite possible for this to be here as well. And then I'm just going to go straight to the 4-hour chart where we are now. So looking at, well, 1 and 2 and 3 and all the way for 4 over here, and coming down from wave 4 here, we've got wave 1 and 2 and wave 3 here, and then an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave for wave 4. We're also looking at this as a wave 1 and 2 here, and it could possibly be that. We'll have a look at the hourly chart in a moment. Technically this, well, anyway, for this one here, we want to see a move below here. That's where we're looking at in this case. So we'll probably see something like that. We know that the European markets can rally, so we'll probably see a rally and then down into this space here. It's also possible that this could be counted differently here with this green wave 4 sitting over here. So just going to the hourly chart here, but it hasn't given us any signals to go long. So wave 4 here, wave 5 here to finish off with this blue wave 5 sitting here, but we're thinking more so over here. So in this case, we're looking at this as 5 waves up here. It's a bit of a rough diamond. We never really got a nice 5 wave structure down through here. It really counts better as, copy this text here, as an A and a B and a C wave here. That was one of the reasons that we're looking at this as being this C wave here, 5 waves here being wave 4, but it could be wave 1 here too. So from the low here up here, the 61.8% here is on this level here, but as you can see, we've moved through that, we've moved through the box, and yeah, we're also on this side of the trend line coming through here as well. So we're in a bearish mode here. There will be support on this level here, which is group 1, the 3. So 1, 2 and 3 is group 1, and we'll always see support on number 3 here. It may be short-lived, but you always get a bounce back to normally back to number 4 here, and then down from there. So in this case here, it's moved through the 61.8% mark, so it's probably not wave 1 here now, so we need to put this as wave 4 here, and we'll also need to look at this here coming down here as more of an impulse wave coming. I'll put these out of the way here, we'll use them on the flip side. Yeah, so we'll probably see this move back up into this trend line here or to this level here, and then make a move down through here to finish off. We want to see a low below here. So is it worth shorting? I doubt it, you know. Yeah, shorting into group 1 is always a bouncy affair, because it's like it's markets move quite quickly between the numbers 3 and 5, and both directions, 5 and 3, and also between 5 and 8 and 8 and 5. They move quite quickly between those numbers. But when a market comes into 3, 2 and 1, and also building up through 3, 2 and 1, they tend to bounce around these numbers a lot, because they're strong numbers and they're all quite close together. So it's more of it's a tougher ride. So shorting into this here, and knowing that there's going to be short covering on this sort of number here, it's a rough journey. It's something that I wouldn't do, well, I don't do anymore. So, well, very rarely, unless I can some other factor governing it. But just as a rule of thumb, shorting into 3 here, you'll always see a bounce back to 4. It can come back to 5 and then move down, but you need the wave count to be on your side. I mean, if you're short already, then you know you'd keep the stop up here somewhere out of the way here, and then look down look down a little bit lower. But from this here, it looks like we've got wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So I think this is 1 and 2 in here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and 5 here. So I think if I can borrow some from somewhere, we're not using these anymore over here, so let's put them to good use. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Put it there. I mean, on the cash market, this wave 1 might be here, but I'll put it here. That looks better here. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I think that's wave 3 here. And wave 4 can pull back to the wave 4 of 1 less degree, which is here, or the 38.2% retracement level. But we have to also understand too that it can overlap wave 1 in this particular case here. So putting this here and this here, that would be where it's coming back into here. So pretty much right with this here. I mean, it's already pulled back in there, but it looks like this is corrective in here. So it's possible for this to come back into this number here, but also this is the main number here. So it's possible to retest 20,500 and then move down into 20,200. It may not get all the way here. I don't know. It depends on how the other markets around the world move as well, how much strength they have in them, and so on. So that's about it, really. All good. Let's clean up a bit. So we don't need that triangle thing in there anymore. We don't need this line here. Don't need that one. The 25's the 500's the important one, so we want that. We want that sitting in there. We're not going to go long on that there for the time being. Let's just finish this off a little bit. This will be moved over here. And this should be roughly in line with the other European markets finishing their wave C to the downside as well. In fact, that's what we should put here as well over here. Put this as orange wave C. All right, okay, that's a bit of a long video, but anyway, that's the way it goes. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Cheers.